Hello and welcome to Thoughscrew. As always, I'm Val, joining you after a little bit of a break. The holidays got me and finals and so on and so forth. And Starbound happened. But that's had me busy. But I haven't forgotten about you guys. I'm still working. I'm still playing games. I'm still doing drawings. I had a couple of things I was going to talk about today. Firstly, I wanted to say, obviously, I'm not doing Bloodstone, which is the game I advertised at the end of my last video. That game was super fun, but it's going to take me longer to beat. It's going to take a little more commitment than I expected. That's another reason why this video is a little bit late in the coming. I had so many ideas for games I wanted to do, games I've been working on. There was, I had an idea I was starting on, but it ended up being really involving. I wanted to do a lineage play of the Elder Scrolls games, which is a big investment. I wanted to play them through chronologically and connect each character to the last one, and see if I could do a big thing like that. And I am working on that, but it's going to take a while. I thought I could get through Arena because it's an older game, and this time I was wrong. I had never played it before. I had only heard about it. I had never played the first two Elder Scrolls games. I had gotten in it at Morrowind, like a lot of people. I didn't know. I never realized that those games haven't come quite as far as we thought they have. Arena and Morrowind truly do have a lot in common. Not just the perspective. It really is a game that surprises you at every turn with how interactive and interesting it is. Every person has a thing to say. People comment on your race still. This is the first game, this game is ancient. It's huge. There's so much room to run around. Somebody did a calculation that to run from one major city to the next in that game could take upwards of like 6 hours. Which is astounding, and playing it, that really is true. Like, that's not an exaggeration. The combat works exactly the same, too, which is weird and surprising. It's, slightly different because you use your mouse, but it's directional force and then attack, and you hack, and rats kill you, and it's freaking great. I'm having a ton of fun with that game. I made a character. I intended him to be the beginning of the lineage for the whole playthrough. I don't know what I'm going to do in Arena, or Daggerfall is the second one. I don't know what I'm going to do in Daggerfall. I also started the Morrowind character because it was really cheap on Steam. Morrowind was like $3 and I wanted to get it, and I haven't played it in so long. And I'd also forgotten how much fun that game was. And so I made Grundy was my Arena character, and somehow, some way, he's going to end up, his lineage is going to run him into... I already forgot the name of my Morrowind character, because I'm an adult and I remember things. I'll have a video for that when it's ready. I had a ton of fun with it, though. The first thing about Arena is that it sort of plays unlike other RPGs of its time. I started playing it and sort of wandering around and like, okay, it's pretty simple. I got my hands, and it took me a while to figure out how to attack, because you have an attack button and you hold it and move the mouse and your person just hacks away, which I'd never played a game that worked like that before. The magic's kind of like good, better. Most of the time, old games like that, magic is just sort of a click, spell cast, or at the very best you get like a flash on your screen and then it happened. But it's actually a night, you get a little hand and you huck magic at people. I have never to this day learned how to get my mana back. Resting doesn't do it, resting at ends doesn't do it, and I've yet to find anyone who purveys magic to maybe sell me a mana potion. I haven't the foggiest. I played as a wizard. Bretons are my favorite race in the Elder Scrolls games, so that was what my character was. And like every Elder Scrolls game, you start in prison, and you get busted out. And so the first level, you're running through the sewer, and the whole time is just you learning that this game isn't going to work like other games of its kind. You can hear monsters moving around. You can hear creatures scrabbling about. You have to climb on top of, you have to find little alcoves to sleep in to stay off the ground so rats don't eat your ankles. If you sleep in the cold, like sleeping in the sewers, it would literally just you huddled up in a corner just shivering and trying to survive, and your health slowly ticking up and your stamina ticking up and down and up and down. You had to sleep for a really long time to get anything useful out of it, and sometimes it was just like a noise awakes you and there's just a rat eating your face, and I can't imagine. It feels so awful in a good way. It feels as awful as it should be to try to be a person trying to get out of a sewer linked to the bottom of a dungeon, just scrabbling through the water, which was another thing I thought was really cool. I was wandering, and you could jump too, which I can think of like maybe 3 old RPGs off the top of my head. 3 out of the universe of them that actually give you that option. And there was a little stream, well, not a stream, but there's a little break in the floor and there was water. Oh well, if I fall in the water, I'll die. That's the logical conclusion I drew, just based off the error of the game. And I went and I tried to jump, and I did the jump short, and I fell. I was like, well, I'm dead. Oh, I guess I can swim. Oh, sweet. Didn't expect that. And not only could I swim in this little thing, it went under the wall, and there was almost another like dungeon in the middle of this dungeon of just waterways I could climb through and things I could climb up on. The dungeons are so cool and well designed, and the map works really good too, so it makes it not crazily confusing. I'll get to the map in a second, it's really neat. And I had a ton of fun just getting out of the tutorial, I would say. It teaches you nothing. Like a lot of games of this time, gives you no information. It just throws you into the deep end of the pool, hands you one dagger, and you're just in there with goblins and sharks trying to eat your feet, and you're trying to pound your hands on the keyboard and learn controls and what is stab. Occasionally you get, just like other Elder Scrolls games, you get diseases. You just get a little diseased. Oh, what's my disease? Are you a doctor? Well, no. Well, then I guess you don't know, do you? Apply some of your medical knowledge. I don't have any of that. You should read a book then, huh, dummy? You have a disease. You feel shitty. That's all you know. Well, damn. You pick up your dice and you roll them. I guess I'll go to sleep. Oh, it was the Black Death. You're dead. Sucks to be you. I got poisoned one time, and the only way to deal with, like, anytime I was indoors, I was taking damage, and if I tried to, like, rest at an inn, I would just die horribly. What I ended up having to do was just stand around out in the snow, and maybe the cold helped my fever? I have no idea. But that was what I had to do, is I just had to, I kept trying things, and I was like, damn, I'm just screwed. I can't find a person to cure this disease. I can't figure out what to do with myself, and I ended up just being out in the cold talking to people who were like, ugh, get away from me, you're diseased. Just like Morrowind. There's something wrong with you, don't touch me, don't touch me. Come on, please. Just a dirty beggar out of the sewers, just pants stained in mud, holding a battle axe. I put it away, but I have a backpack full of armor I can't wear because I'm a wizard. Just crawling through the snow, help, help. If you try to sleep in the snow, you just die. Which should happen. I've not at all verified this information. I'm sure the Elder Scrolls fans could tell me. I think the game takes place in Skyrim because I've seen nothing but hellish snow. Of course, that game does feature. You can go outside of it and you can run around the whole Cyrodiil, I believe is the name of the whole continent. I always get it mixed up. Cyrodiil and Tamriel. I can't remember. One of those is a small space and one of them is the whole world. And I can't remember for the life of me which. I always get it mixed up. People have told me 100 times and I can never remember. Anyway, you rest outside and you just freeze to death. There's no two ways about it. Oftentimes you rest and you wake up and there's a bandit, there's someone trying to kill you, someone tried to slit your throat in your sleep. Assassins happen so often and at the worst freaking times. As soon as you're wounded, as soon as you're at that moment where you have maybe like, a couple of pixels of health, no stamina, you stomp in out of the cold into the inn. The inns are really cool, the way they're designed is neat, there's tons of people in them. You talk to the guy and you can bargain how like late you want to stay at the inn, which is neat, like how many days you want to stay, and then anywhere in the inn you can just hit the rest button and your guy will automatically go to his bed, which is kick-ass. Anyway, you wander in, it gives you that little message. For each inn has its own little message too, like blah blah blah. You go into the Chunky Pony, it's especially warm tonight, the music, there's a blah 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 in the corner and the barkeep greets you and, hello, just give me a room. How long do you want to stay? 3 days, that's 2 gold a stay, you good? Yeah, okay, just take money, rest, head hits the pillow, you get 1 pixel of health. You're awakened by a noise. It's an assassin just cracking his knuckles. Oh shit, you gotta pull out your weapon, he just slaps it out of your hand. Just like, come on dude! He's like, this, and of course the assassin's like, this is the easiest 100 gold I ever made. And they're Dark Brotherhood guys too. If you kill them, you can pick up their Dark Brotherhood stuff. They were around all the way back then. I like that consistency is really cool. But anyway, being assassinated is so upsetting. Also, the thing I was going to say about the map, wandering out on that first town, I immediately assumed I was never going to know where anything is, which is common in old games like that. You either stay in your one city your whole life and you kind of learn your way around, or you just never learn. when you need a shop, you just bump into walls until you find the one that's the right shop. Which I've had to do with a lot of games, Ancient's Death Watch, games like that. It's really depressing. When you open the map, not only is it nice and detailed, if you right-click on any door, it says the name of the place, and it writes it on your map. And also, you can write anything you want on your map. You have a little cursor, and you can click, and you can just write out little messages to yourself, or reminders, or make a little line on the map, like, arrow, this place is blah, 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 mission to go here. Or you can write notes to yourself, like, have quest, go to this place. You know, things that make... It's a game of its time, and there's lots of problems that come with that. Simplistic graphics, you know, hard to remember where you are. You know, sometimes a lot of places, every church in the game looks identical, and that can make the game really difficult. The little things like that, they really took the time and worked hard to make it more playable by adding stuff like that. And it makes a huge difference. It really makes the game a hell of a lot more fun. And of course, I've been playing Morrowind again, too, and it's nice how similar they are. Morrowind I'm playing, and I'm trying to do the story this time, which I've never done. I've had 2 characters in Morrowind that both got very far. I got both of them to about level 40, and neither of them I did anything to do with the main story quest. I didn't even start it. So I'm going to try to actually do that this time. My character in that so far is an Imperial. I didn't even talk about my character in the first one. I haven't really figured out much of a character for my Brenton in Arena. All I know so far is literally what the character knows. It's all in my head. They haven't given me a reason or a thing to really cling on to. I'm out of prison. Somebody slipped me a key. I snuck out. I survived. And right now I'm just the kind of guy who's willing to murder people for their shoes to stay alive because I'm a beggar out in the snow trying to live. That's him so far. Somehow, my character in Morrowind is an Imperial. Again, I want to do something I hadn't done before. I'm trying to play outside my box. My character is an Imperial. Somehow, some way, the Arena character, or perhaps his son, or whatever lineage is going to be the character in Daggerfall, there's going to be a blood mixing of the blood, because the Morrowind character is an Imperial. Another thing I've never done is I don't usually play fighters. That's not my thing. I like to play wizards. In most games, I like to play wizards. So I'm being a spear-using Imperial fighter. And that character came into the game. He's an Imperial by blood, so he's got that heritage. I hit the docks in Morrowind with a note from the Emperor saying I was to be freed, meaning I'm important. I don't know why I'm important, but I know the Emperor thinks so. And my character is loyal, damn it. He is out to do the Emperor's work. Because of that, it's been an interesting adventure so far. I haven't done a whole lot of, jerking around in just random dungeons and stuff. First of all, because you just can't do that shit in Morrowind. Oh, an ancient tomb, what's in here? Oh, it's a rape ghost! Just grabs you by the face and pushes you to the floor. Hold still! Screaming, anybody walking by, because they're 2 feet from the road. Travelers walking by, just hear the sounds of you scratching at the door and muffling as you just get gang raped by ghosts. You pray you can get through the door. You try to just frantically click on the door in time because people can't go through doors mercifully, and you come out just broken and bleeding and your pants around your ankles, just help! People on the side of the road, wow, you really look like you could use some help. I really could. That's nice. You want to help me find some guy? No, I need food. I don't sell that. Oh, God, anything. I'll just rest on the ground. Go to lay down. There's enemies nearby. Are you joking? No. You're kidding me! Cliff Racer! Stupid fuck. For those of you who haven't or haven't excessively played Morrowind, Cliff Racers are the worst thing to happen to mankind. There have been atrocities on this planet that I would rather happen again than ever deal with Cliff Racers in my freaking life. They're basically tiny little pterodactyls. I call them lizard rats because they're rats. They carry every disease in the universe. They glitch out on everything in the universe. It's these horrible flying enemies. You'll know they're nearby because you'll hear them squawking and they'll have their face planted in a tree because the game doesn't have flying programmed that great. So you'll just see them and you know you're gonna have to fight them. You pray you don't. You have your weapon out and you're like, come on, stay stuck. You've nothing I want. But as soon as you get past them, you're distance, they're far away, you're like, okay, good, I'm good. Put my weapon away, put my shield away. Oh, come on! Boop! You caught every disease in existence. It's literally just stacking up your screen with all the terrible... Apparently this thing was just a plague on wings that just coughed down your throat as soon as it touches you. All the diseases. And you're like, oh, fuck. And he didn't do that much damage, but now you have to pay a good 200 gold just to cure all that shit. And now the fight begins. Oh, does the fight begin. Pray you have a spear. Or something. Pray you don't have your fists. If you have your fists, you just load your game. There's no point. If you have a one-handed weapon, get ready to be here a while. If you have a spear, it's pretty effective. But not that effective. You turn and you look directly up, like back broken up, and you see this creature above you. And you swing and nothing happens. And you swing and nothing happens because he's outside your attack range. So you jump, but your detection box moves up. And he's a flying creature and he's on top of it. So he moves up. So you move up, he moves up, you still swing at nothing, you land, and then he hits you in the face with his tail. And you do that until the game messes up and you move faster than him somehow and do a little bit of damage. They have like 15 health. You can do that in like 3 swings. But you gotta get those 3 swings. And also you miss like crazy. I don't know what the stats on Cliff Racers are, but it's bullshit. Whatever it is, it's too damn high. Okay, so that's Morrowind. Point is, I haven't done too much dilly-dallying around with that. I tried to get straight to the first town and get in there and start the quest line. Never done that before. But it's kind of funny how when you talk to the guy who is apparently a coke addict, according to the people at the Thieves Guild, everyone calls him Sugar Nose? Sugar Tooth? They call him a Sugar Tooth, which I think is a reference to the cocaine drug that Khajiit carry around and are addicted to. Well, you go to his house and he's just like shirtless in a tiny house. I think he's a cokehead. Not 100% sure. Anyway, you talk to him and he pretty much just tells you like, all right, now I'm gonna help you out. Now what I would need you to do is go and dick around and do whatever you want for a while. He just tells you to just go join a guild or become a bandit or just look for trouble. Just go pick some fights in the street. Whatever you gotta do, just beat some people up. I can't imagine how a person in real life would respond to that. You knock on his door and he's like, who are you? What are you doing inside my house? Because he didn't come out, you went in, because that's how the game works. While he's sleeping, like, it's 3 in the afternoon, his bugged out eyes burned out, bloodshot, hair's all tussled, he's shoving things under his bed for you not to see them, like, oh, hang on, just a moment, shoveling things away. Gets up, he's like in his stained underwear, and you're like, "Hi, the Emperor sent me." Oh, the Emperor, yeah, I know him. He's like, what did he tell you? And you're like, "Oh, he gave me this note. Here you go." And he's like, "Yeah, that's good. The Emperor told you to. So you should go and do absolutely anything that isn't this for a while. I mean, just go rob houses or something, or maybe like talk to the fighters guild. Just go beat people. I don't care. Just shoot. Here's some money. Get out of my house." Get out of my house and don't tell anyone about this. And you're like, okay. He's like shoving you your hat and coat. Like, all right, I guess I'll just leave. Back outside into the grim rain. Like, don't really know what to do with my life right now. I'll join a guild. It's funny that the thing, I felt so much more purposeful when I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do anything I want with my old characters. Just like, nah, cave, fine, I eat caves for breakfast. Go inside, get raped, come back out, load my game, keep playing until I can find a way to exploit my way through that cave. Yeah, I've totally beat that cave. I felt like I really had purpose then. But now that I'm doing the main storyline, I feel like I'm just sort of like washing in the wind, like, okay, it's whatever you want me to do, I guess. And so I joined the Fighters Guild. Well, we're already doing something I've never done before. Every character I've played, my first one was a summoner and a fist fighter. No, my first one was a rogue and a summoner, and my second character was pure fist fighting. Those are the 2 things I've done. Both characters one I did Mage's Guild and one I did Thieves Guild. Never touched the Fighters Guild, so it was my first time doing that. And that's been interesting. It's actually just getting a brawl with people. I learned how much more dangerous people are than me. The way I'd always beaten them before is, my old character, open the door, there's an enemy. Yeah, you baba, whatever thing they are. Yeah! The noise people make when they're about to punch you in an Elder Scrolls game. And I'm like, holy shit, here comes an enemy. Looks like they're fighting a skeleton, and a third skeleton. And there comes my skeletons, and they're like, shit! They realize, like, about halfway to me that they're in way too deep, and they, like, try to start fighting the skeletons, and I wander around looking at them. They're fighting for their life, fighting skeletons off, feeling awesome. Throw it off, kill one skeleton, collapses to the floor, the other two tag team on him. Still me. Walking up behind her, duck. I get the little eyeball. Oh, she can't see me. Maybe it's because she's fighting for her life with skeletons. Yeah. Take your pants. Next guy. And then you open the next door, and another person's, yeah, like they're gonna do it. I mean, the last guy didn't. They heard the sounds of murder, rape, and skeletons through the door. But this guy, he's the guy. He's gonna do it. He's gonna get you. So you do the same thing. The exact same thing, exact same way, and no NPC survives that. Sneak. That, by the way, is the reason why in no other Bethesda game do I use stealth. I don't frown on people who do, but it compared to how difficult Morrowind is supposed to be, how easy it was when I just stealthed through everything. And when I watch other people play through Bethesda games, and when you talk to people, a very disproportionate amount of them do almost nothing but stealth. For good reason. When you stealth kill things, you just remove their heads. It just insta-kills almost everything. And so it feels too... I don't want to say too easy, because it makes me feel like kind of an elitist. I don't mean it like that. It doesn't give me the kind of challenging gameplay I like. That's a better way to put it. If you do it, that's totally cool. It's still fun. However you enjoy the game is however you enjoy the game. That's all that matters. So I like to do, but you guys know me by now. I like to just put my face to the grindstone and just until there's nothing but hardened, grizzled bone underneath. Like I headbutt my enemies to death. That's Arena and Morrowind. The other thing I was going to talk to you about is the other game I've been playing is a really cool game called Heretec, which is an old game from id Software. I am a huge nerd for id Software. They were one of my favorite companies. Ironically, it fits well into this Bethesda episode because Bethesda actually owns them now. I didn't know that until recently. That was a new piece of information. So I was playing Heretec. Heretec is post-Doom, so it's a little post-Doom, pre-Hexen, if you guys happen to know their games. But most people know Doom, you know what it is, you know the basic formula, and most id games follow that. The Wolfenstein formula, you have your 10 guns and you fight whatever evil thing you're fighting, and at the end of the game you fight demons. That's usually how it works. Heretic kind of jumps the gun and you're fighting demons the whole time. Heretic is a fantasy version of that formula, and I gotta say, it's really, really badass. You play as Corvus. Corvus is an elf. It's funny how I don't have a lot of descriptor past that. Corvus is an elf in a world where elf lords kind of rule, like these weird lich elf lords kind of rule their chunk of the planet, which I think is really interesting. That's not a story I've seen before, or really since. I like the idea of evil elves. They're not dark elves, they're not drow, they're not some special kind of elf. They're just elves. These are the elves in their world. They're magical, they're smarter, they're more powerful, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Corvus is kind of a rogue. He's an id main character. He's just a shit-kicking rookie. Who goes to fight them? He goes to hunt them down. You start the game literally as him. You're just in like a jerkin and boots, and you got your little wand, and you got a staff, and that's that. Here's my drawing of Corvus. There's no real good picture of him, so I kind of improvised it. Oh, you get kind of his chin, and you know that he is kind of a strong, he has a very heroic chin. Sort of a strong cut. The rest of his outfit I took pretty much as it was. I toed it a little bit. I gave him nicer boots. The staff wand thing, I should explain. The staff wand thing, when I was a kid and I played the game, because I played it when I was probably 10 or maybe 11, I never realized that the wand was a wand. It's called a wand. The ammo for it's called wand crystals. I still thought it was the front of his staff. I felt like when you switched over to the melee weapon, he was turning his staff. The melee weapon is you just jabbing people with the staff. It seemed silly to me that he would have a non-magical staff because he's a wizard. That just didn't click in my child's mind that any wizard could have a stick that wasn't like crazily magical. So that's how I did his staff, and I gave it kind of a handle there because he fights with it pretty good. It's actually a decently effective weapon. But again, it's the melee weapon, so it gets quickly replaced. I can't remember what the melee weapon was in Wolfenstein. I know you started with your fist. I think you upgraded to a knife. In Doom, you started with your brass knuckles and you upgraded to a chainsaw. In this game, what you get is way more badass. You start with your staff, and you upgrade to Necromancer Gauntlets, which are these just awesome, evil, heavy plate mail, villainous gloves you get pretty early on. And they just cackle out evil green lightning. And just like the chainsaw in other games, you hit people with it, and they get stun locked, and it pulls them towards you, so they can't even run away. But some of the monsters in this game are really kind of big and meaty, so it feels great when you come up on them and you just grab them by the face and just lightning! I am all about lightning hands. Death ray hands. Yeah. Death ray hands, death ray hands, death ray hands. I'm all about that. And so that's one of the things that really endeared this game to me when I was a kid. You have your wand, I should have mentioned. The wand is kind of the pistol equivalent. It just shoots little crystals. And then the other weapon you get early on is the crossbow, which is kind of this game's shotgun. It's called an ethereal crossbow, and it just shoots these cool green plasma bolts out of it. The plasma bolts you carry in a quiver because it has a thing that you pick up quiver, like quiver of ethereal arrows. The other thing I want to talk about, which is kind of cool, the enemies in this game have a really nice design. They kind of lead me to think a little bit, but there isn't a lot of description of what they are in-game, so I kind of have to make things up on my own. But what I believe is that people... I'm shifting around over here. The people that rule, the elves that like send whatever their minions are out, I think they're made out of the same magical things that Corvus uses. Corvus is definitely one of those, like... He's a pointy hat kind of wizard. And what I mean by that is, he's not the kind of wizard... He's not like a D&D wizard, like, you know what I'm going to do today? Fire! D&D wizards aren't supposed to be like that, but they completely are. He's a wizard like, do you require magic from me? Bring me, a toadstool and a this and a gem of that thing and water from a stream of... He needs specific crap for his magic, which is my explanation of why he can't do anything else other than use the artifacts he has on hand. His wand is powered by these yellow crystals that I think are just little yellow crystals of like life energy. I always imagine, if you look, I won't put it back up in front of your face, but if you look on this picture, I give him a little yellow belt, little gemstone belt, which I'm under the opinion that he never reloads his thing with new crystals. I'm under the opinion that the belt is where the magic comes from, and he just picks up new crystals and he just drains them into it, and it's just sort of his storage. Later you upgrade it and you can store more. You find an upgrade that lets you hold more ammo of everything, but I think that's how it works, is he just drains the energy out of that crystal into his sort of master crystal, and it just is more he can shoot out of his wand. Every enemy is made out of a different energy you use for one of your weapons. So you fight these cool flesh golem guys. They're one of the more common enemies. And they just punch you in the skull. And they die and they drop those little yellow crystals, which at first doesn't make for a very strong connection. By the way, those flesh golem guys are super cool. They're big, meaty, beefcake guys. They look like they're horrifically stitched together. They distinctly look like their face is stitched on. It looks like a completely different type of thing that's either metal or a different kind of skin stretched over the muscle and bone for them, of whatever holds them together. And the same thing with like their abdomen chest piece looks completely stitched on. And then I added a gem onto their chest, which I imagine is the yellow, like, sort of life gem that keeps them functioning. They're probably mass-produced somewhere. There's someone with the grim job of just chopping up body parts, just the meatier bits, and like just stitching muscle together and shoving them down an assembly line. And there's a scribe with a little chisel who chisels the runes into their flesh, and then another person who plants the gem in. The gem, probably from some horrible mine where the remnants of civilization mine these horrible yellow gems, so that these guys can come at you in droves. You can kill them, pick them up, stick them in your belt. So that idea is funny. I never thought about that, but that idea is funny to me. Like that transition, somewhere in the world, you could write entire books about the horrible, oppressed people whose job it is to menially just mine these yellow, worthless gems that a wizard's gonna use to put together a meat monster to further oppress your people. But anyway, they have that, and then later on you fight them, and they can do this sort of like aura thing, like they sort of scream and put their fists up like it's Dragon Ball Z, and they glow with this sort of yellow lightning, which is the same crap you shoot out of your wand. So that's the connection there. There's also little red imp guys. They're kind of neat. I wanted to give them a cool picture because they're actually pretty effing scary. When you first fight them, you feel like they're just the flying version of the imps from Doom, and they're totally not. They're way more inconvenient than that. They fight smarter. The enemies in this game are positioned well enough. Like the level design's always awesome. It's really cool, really detailed. There's secret stuff everywhere. Things are challenging without being completely BS. Enemies are positioned in cool ways to just make the game fun to play. But the thing imps like to do is you go in a room and there's a thing, classic. It's a dark room, there's a thing on a pedestal, and you go, okay, I'm going to touch that and all hell's going to break loose. I absolutely know it. And you're right. You reach up, oh, it's a key, bam, wall opens, axe-throwing skeletons come out and start just throwing hell at you, and you're ducking and fighting and killing them, and yeah, got him. Cool. Walk over, you're looting their bodies. What the hell? And there was just a bunch of imps that were on the ceiling the whole time. You never even knew they were there. They waited for the fight to end and you to feel safe so they could come down and just swarm on you and just pound you to death. And you'll kill them. You will. You'll turn around and fire wildly into them, blow most of them up. You'll waste half your ammo. Most of your health bar will be crippled. You might have some health flasks to chug and limp away. But they really take their toll on you and they'll wear you down. And they're inevitably the thing that's going to make you be dead. And so I thought they deserved kind of a better drawing. Another rockin' monster in this game. Like I said, the axe-throwing skeletons. The crossbow you use uses this green ethereal arrows, just green ethereal energy. You fight skeletons that are just dripping with it. They're skeletons in this really classy, nice, like breastplate and greaves and sort of a waist plate and these heavy metal gauntlets, and they conjure ethereal axes and huck them at you. And in the, I think I read it in the game manual a long time ago. They have a thing that lets them summon them. They just use their life energy to make them. I have no idea where I read that. I might have made that up. Don't quote me. Anywho's, so they're powered by it. And in my mind, that's like necromantic energy that keeps them flowing. And then they each have a little emblem. I drew it on them. They have a little icon that gives them the power to convert that into an axe. That's a single little spell that was chiseled onto a thing. If a wizard had it, he could probably learn it and do it without that thing, but they're skeletons. They're very simple. So they were given that ability and that ability alone, and they can conjure axes and huck them. They're so cool. Even when they kick your ass, they're still awesome. I love skeletons. I have a natural sort of love for them. And they look neat, they die awesome, they fight cool. They fight in groups, and they'll usually have a captain that glows red and throws red axes at you. They're just, damn, they're awesome. Anyway, moving on. I drew a captain. This isn't an enemy that exists in the game. I just kind of, I assume if these guys, because you're kicking out doors. You're invading places. I like to think if there was ever an actual war, they would have kind of a chain of command, and that guy could probably summon a better kind of axe. By the way, the emblem I'm putting, you see it around. It's sort of on this guy's shield. That's the emblem of the Serpent Lords, which are the people you're fighting against, the group of, like, elf liches that rule the world. So I sort of put that around on their iconography a little bit. I thought it was kind of neat. There's other weapons in the game. I didn't go through... for some reason, the next weapon you get is the machine gun. I crappily edited in here. My camera ran out of battery, so I'm jumping back to where it was there. It was a machine gun item. It shot laser blue death rays. Wasn't that cool looking, because it just... You could see it, you were holding it, and you could see like a burly forearm, which bugged me because I could never imagine your character taking off his awesome big metal gauntlets. They're just too cool. And then even on the cover art, he has like leather gloves on. And it's too manly for him to be an elf, you know? It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. And of course you pile up, there's other cool items in the game, but the other thing I wanted to talk about it is the Tome of Power, which is a consumable item. It was one of the early games to have an inventory system, which was really neat. You could scroll through and you had like, things to make you fly or like run fast items. There's an invisibility item. There was cool little healing potions, which are great. They healed you like 25% of your health. And he would use them automatically too. If you were fighting and there's a big burly golem was just punching your skull into fucking gravy, he would slap one into his face and heal. Face full of life to keep you alive. But the Tome of Power was a really kick-ass item. What it did was, it made all of your weapons do different stuff. Super cool. So like your staff, which was normally just you stabbing with the staff, now hits, it shoots like a little shockwave and it does electricity. A little explosion damage on impact. Your wand shoots a shotgun now. Your crossbow, which normally shoots like a big bolt of energy and then 2 small ones, now shoots just 5 big bolts of murder. Just run up an enemy's face and stick it down their throat and just blow the back of their head off. Beautiful killing machine. It made the claw shoot where it shot little maces. I don't know what was up with that. It was kind of weird, but it was really cool. A neat little consumable items, and it looked like this nice black metal bound evil book, which was really cool. That's Heretec. It was a really neat game. There were other items in it. There was other weapons that you get later on. There was like a flamethrower staff and a mace that you would hold it and then you did like a pokey motion and it shot like a ball out that exploded because they needed a rocket launcher weapon. I guess that's what it is. I wish I could do with like the technology we have now. I wish I could go back and make a game like this. I really, really do. Because how cool that could be if instead of that, like if you could, because it's so easy to animate things like that now. Imagine if he had like a big book he had out, like it's just a book of like pyromancy. And then when you used it, it had a set number of like, charges. When you used it, he like ripped out a page and crumpled it up and threw it because he's a shitty wizard and that's the kind of stuff he does. And it just, bam, pyromancy explosion. Could have been super cool. Same thing with like the flamethrower staff. Could have been like a ring, or even like a cool like a circlet or something, like a big like dragon circlet, or maybe like a pyromancer emblem. Just let you breathe fire or out of your hands or whatever. Get some Skyrim business up on this one and just death ray hands people. This is the neat stuff you could have done. And so I kind of think about it, but hey, maybe someday I'll be put in charge of it. Someday I'll get to do the artistic design for a game and I could do cool things like that. But that's Heretec. If you haven't played it, look it up. It's got a great style and feel to it. It moves nice. It handles really smooth. All the weapons work good. The level design, always great with id, And the story's pretty neat. You don't get much of it because it's a shooting game, then, But moving from world to world, you do get kind of a sense of progress, and it feels really good for an old shooting game. Above and beyond, like id Software always used to do. So that's it. That's it for today's episode. I haven't decided what my next game's going to be, but I'm working on it. I have a couple of things in the pipeline that I'm digging through and doing drawings for, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to line up next. I'll hopefully figure it out by the time I'm done editing this. And I've got another project I'm working on. Hopefully I have some free time coming up. Hopefully within the next week or two. I have a neat little side project that I'll hopefully be able to get up for you guys to look at and enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. As always, thank you for your support. I will see you all next week. Have a lovely night.